Hey Taurus Seeker, welcome back to the Existential Shift. My name is Morgane, very happy to have you here. Welcome to also all my new seekers, all my joining subscribers who joined the channel recently. Thank you and hope you find yourself here. Okay, let's get to this Taurus, for August. July's reading for the eclipse season was intense. I do recommend watching it. But now let's focus on the coming energies, please. For Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, intuitively guided, boss watchers. You can reverse the roles. Let's see what the cards bring for us. Taurian tribe. Earth angels. Taurus, please, for August. Oh, you're quiet. A lot of people are being quiet. And slow. Not like in the normal, stereotypical slow Taurus thing. Almost like kind of time stands still kind of feeling. Not a limbo. It's not stuck. It's not confused. I mean, some of you might feeling stuck and confused and at a limbo, but this to me feels more like I did refer to the July reading as the waiting game is over. I think something with time is changing for you. Almost like transmuting the notion of waiting into, how do I explain this without sounding like I'm just speaking ideas with no tangible connection. Like transmuting it into, I want to say being, but it's more than that because you're active. Time is standing still for you and yet you're active. It's almost like being underwater, right? The physics is different. The gravity is different. It doesn't affect you as much as it does on Earth, on land. Inside the water, it's like up, down, forward, backwards. They don't have the same meaning. What is it that I'm tapping into? It's meaningful because the cards won't speak and they just give this to me. So it's something you need to hear. So the ocean and water in general is held by the land, by Earth, right? Because any sort of water without something to contain it is just lost in space. It's just like a floating nothing. But when it's, tunnel-like, then it's a river, and when it's a vast empty hole, then it's an ocean, and so on. So I'm getting like some of you have mastered the element of earth, of land, of this type of gravity. Scheduling, timing, planning, existing, working, really doing well in the 3D. Of course, it's some of you, not all of you. And for those of you that don't click with it, maybe it's something that it's a process that I'm tapping hopefully for you in the future. But for those of you who resonate with this, what I'm trying to say is that now, this sensation that you might be having of still being in movement, but it's almost like floating in space or in water, right? Walking on sand, you're walking on land. It's not that you're not grounded. It's not that you're detached or I have this vision of, like I'm walking on the bottom of the ocean. Like my feet are in the sand, but I'm completely underwater. And I'm walking forward, I'm pacing, but it's an entire different sensation than walking on land. If you've ever scuba dived, I have scuba dived many times, then you know how it feels. Now you're moving into the element of water. I think this eclipse season has triggered that in you. And it doesn't matter if you have water placements or don't, or it doesn't mean that so far you haven't been intuitive or spiritual, or that you haven't had the water element. But if so far you've been touch and go with that element because you've been busy mastering the earth aspect of your life and of yourself, it's now being integrated and moved into the water realm, the water world. There's this movie with Kevin Costner. You remember that movie? I love that movie, Waterworld. It will somehow connect to the reading. Now the cards are coming out. The Lovers. This is a deck that is combined with the Waite and the Mythic Tarot. Two of Swords. Those were my first two decks. Ten of Wands. Six of Wands. Okay. Some of you are facing a needed choice. You feel like you need to make a choice, choose a path, a direction, make a decision, and it's something that you really don't feel like doing. It's overbearing. It's giving you a headache. You're feeling overwhelmed by it. But here's the thing. Once you move out of so the reason why this choice or need of making a decision is seemingly giving you a headache or is upsetting you or is burdening you, there's a psychological childhood thing that is preventing you from seeing how easy the road can be. Okay? So if you're walking underwater and you have a deep fear of water, then it might not feel so great. But if you relieve yourself of that fear, and if you love water, then it feels amazing and magical. It's something like that. It's something that the reality of it literally changes by your perception. And currently, if your perception is negative, it doesn't come from an actual negative situation as much as it's a negative perception of that potential situation because of past events, potentially childhood events, parental issues, and so on. I'm getting someone who doesn't want to handle a conversation, doing something, working towards something, deciding something. With the Lovers, this could definitely be love matters. And the reason they find it so hard to do so, it's not because it's actually scary or there's actually something bad about it as they might be perceiving it. It's a projection. It's how they grasp that type of work or decision making or conversation. I keep getting conversation. Some of you might need to be talking to someone. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's someone you're seeing, maybe it's a spouse, I don't know, someone you're involved with. Maybe you guys need to figure out a direction, a path, a road, but one of you is just so overwhelmed with just the thought of handling this or talking about it or figuring it out that it becomes this big monster in their head, when in fact, Six of Wands, when in fact it's a victory. Six of Wands comes after Five of Wands. Five of Wands is something that can be resolved. It's a conflict. It's a challenge that can be resolved and led to the Six of Wands, aka victory. But it needs to be looked at in an alternative, different way, which kind of matches everything I've been saying so far. It kind of clicks with the change your perspective. You're underwater. It's new territory. It's something different. It's very emotional, right? It's the water. It's water and earth, because I'm getting the sand very strong. The feet are on. Look. It's like this, the feet are on the ground, except that in my vision, I'm getting that it's also an entire sea. But for this person, the sea, the water, instead of being really nourishing and just loving, they sense it as something very dry and dreary. It's like they dread it. So interesting. But once it's overcome, there's a very clear, not only direction and a path, but also victory within this path. See, like, to him, see how this poor creature is on the ground, laying down, and he's looking at it, being like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this. But it's only because he has all these wands on him, all these burdens. All he has to do is just like drop them. And it seems that he does have, this character does have the strength, the power to lift this challenge thing. And here it's so heavy, he's not even trying. Here it's like, oh, you got this. And they're like cheering, yeah, you got this. You got this, you know? It's not as scary as you think it is. It's I'm actually getting that it's exciting, but you're not experiencing it as exciting. This new exciting territory. And the Lovers being the first card out, this is a meaningful time. This is a meaningful decision. Maybe that's why you're scared of it, or the person relevant to the story is scared of it, because it feels big. It does feel big. But the Lovers is also a card that requires clearing out anything that sits on the path that is no longer relevant, vibing on the same frequency, that just takes room and space in order to make room for the new path, or for the new person, or for the new career, or for the new self, or whatever. The Lover's shadow side is when someone can't clear out what they need to clear out, and they keep trying to hold to their past while creating their future. You can't. Because when you hold on the past and try to simultaneously create the future, they become this mush of conflicted energies that completely washes over the present. And literally the present that you can be experiencing. So the guidance of the Lover's card is to clean the past. And in this case, because I have such a psychological card right after that, Two of Swords, a very psychological childhood. From the Greek mythology, it's the story of Orestes, who witnessed his father killing his sister, his daughter, and his mother wanting to take revenge and getting all upset. He's like, he can't handle it, so he closes himself in the room and be like, oh, I'm not hearing, I'm not seeing. It's a complete state of denial because the situation is so overbearing. Something that happened to you in your past that was so overbearing that you closed yourself to and you didn't want to handle. It hurt so much, so it clicked somewhere inside. And now there's trigger points, right? There's triggers that bring it up, that remind you of it, but you don't even know, you don't remember. It was so long ago. But you physically respond to these things the same way. Maybe every time your parents had a conversation, they went into a fight. So since a very scary fight, and as a child you were very sensitive to it, and since then the thought of having a conversation with your partner automatically triggers that and makes you think, oh, we're going to go into a horrible fight. No, I can't. No, I don't want to talk. You don't even know it, for example. So because I have a psychological card after the Lovers, this is something that needs to be clear when it comes to our triggers, our mechanism, how we handle things, how we respond to things, how we analyze things. And here I have Seven of Swords, King of Swords, Four of Pentacles, and the Hermit. So I feel like someone is taking their distance to think things and balance things out and understand themselves better and their own fears better. And there's a lot of looking within. King of Swords could be an air sign. Normally it's Libra, but it could be Aquarius or Gemini. I have Lovers is also a Gemini, so yeah, it could be any of it because I have all signs, all air signs on the table. But again, it could be someone that exudes these characteristics. It doesn't have to be the actual zodiac sign. King of Swords, someone very cognitive, that thinks things through, that wants to have things balanced and even and fair and just, and he's in the mind realm. The Seven of Swords, like someone is just trying to plan, like have a game plan. Okay, how do I approach this? How do I do this? How do I talk about this? How do I, what do I say? But they present it to themselves and to the outside as if it comes from being logical and reasonable, but in fact, it comes from a deep fear. Four of Pentacles, another psychological fearful card. I'm getting someone who's holding on to a mechanism that their father had. That is very interesting. I don't even know if they know it. I'm not even sure if they know it. Where they're like, oh, this is me being logical and reasonable, but it's actually something that their father installed in them. A certain sense of aloofness or detachment, or I'm not in this conversation. I'm not in this situation because I need to think it, be in it, you know, hold space for myself in it. But the Hermit seeks and the Hermit finds. It all depends on when and how, and it all depends on him. You can't take the Hermit out of their Hermit stage, because the only way they will move is if they find this light within them that guides the way. So this person needs to find this, you know, their spark of the heart to guide their way. But the thing is, they're covered with a lot of I was about to say failures. It just came out. I did not mean for it to come out, so maybe. I was about to say that, I meant to say that they're covered with a lot of layers of fear and insecurity that are being, I forget a word, camouflaged by thinking, by logic. No, I'm not being fearful, I'm just thinking, just being reasonable, kind of thing. I'm getting energy of a lot of beating around the bush. And also someone wants to really do something right. Like they don't want to mess something up, so they're really thinking something through, like trying to strategize it, but while they do it, time is moving by. The Hermit is a card of time, and the more and more they think about it, the more the fear has room to express itself. So they kind of get lost in that. I'm getting a lot of sadness from this Hermit. This is someone that is used to being alone. They're used to being alone. They think it's their essence, but it's actually a learned skill that they had because of their life circumstances that required them to be alone a lot. So they had to make it work, right? And it's better for me to be alone because I like it, because it's who I am, a lonely wolf kind of thing, as opposed to I'm alone because no one wants to be around me. It's two different things. So we all take our pain and give it a logical reason. Oh, it's not that I'm unwanted here, I don't want to be here, right? It's not that this person doesn't like me, I don't like them. And they're walking underwater. This is so interesting. I doubt it if it's literal unless you scuba dive, but it feels very like just the sensation, the state of mind. Okay, Taurus. It's a very interesting reading. Let's keep going for August, please, for Taurus. I'm a Taurus seeker. I do tend to see way clearer narratives in the extended, so if you guys want to dive into this further, feel free to join me on Vimeo, but let's see what else comes up. Okay. Right after the Hermit, and I've been shuffling for a really long time and nothing comes out. You see me shuffling, right? The Hermit is slow. Can't take that away from them. King of Wands, a completely different energy. This king is a doer, very active energy. Doesn't sit around, doesn't wait. Five of Wands. We went from the Six of Wands to the Five of Wands. Okay. Show me more. And suddenly I'm getting a spark of like wanting to fight or wanting to argue. Someone that goes from complete, patient, quiet, hermiting to let's fight. I have something to say. I'm going to put it in the room. I'm going to wake up the elephant in the room. It's almost like they get a kick out of it. This is someone that gets a kick out of arguing. It's such a controversial, bipolar energy. King of Swords, King of Wands. Could be someone with strong air and fire placements. King of Cups and Queen of Swords. So at least we have a couple here. Clear couple. King of Swords and Queen of Swords. And King of Cups. So we have three kings. So either some of you ladies have plenty of suitors, or because I have one queen and three kings, but only one is a clear match. Now, the Queen of Swords and the King of Cups came out together. So this could be someone who is waiting for someone to break up with someone whom they shouldn't necessarily be with, or maybe it's not the perfect match or something like that. It's like I'm getting a lot of competition over someone. Now, I might be tapping into different narratives here because of, you know, the amount of subscribers and viewers. So a lot of things, several things will come up. So just take what resonates, right? Don't force a narrative that doesn't feel right. Okay. Well, someone is being away in their everything I described. Room is being made for other people to come in. So let's say there are two people who are involved together, and one is this King of Swords, Hermit, Six of Wands character that is like stuck in their, you know, psychological dogmas and is like taking their time, whatever. Okay. Then what happens? Look who comes in. Two kings come in. And that's this Five of Wands here. That's the competition. So this is for August, right? So if you don't want to have competitors walk into your situation, and put your person in a place that needs to choose, or that they have, you know, several people around them, I'd recommend to process faster. I guess whatever it is that you need to process. If you are this Queen of Swords, on the other hand, Taurus, if you are this queen that feels like someone is constantly taking their distance from you to do something like what I've described, then I don't see you staying alone for long, honestly. Like there's a lot of buzz around this Queen of Swords, a lot of buzz around this individual. And a lot of people wanting to express themselves to this Queen of Swords, while her actual King of Swords is out there playing Hermit. Is this the part where I say no shade to come off politically correct and help you swallow the pill easier? Shade. I didn't say no shade. I said shade. Proud of it. Okay, so I will continue this in the extended to see if there's a resolution for all these kings around this queen. This could be, by the way, like it doesn't have to mean that it's a feminine that has masculines around her. This could be a masculine that has feminines around him. Again, copy paste to your narrative. But I'm going to check further into how it's evolving throughout August, because in this narrative, in this reading, August is looking interesting and competitive over someone's attention, but I don't necessarily see a stamp on who's with who, or there might be actually, you know, this girl here starting to date this guy, while this guy might be left behind while he's doing all his strategizing and thinking, or whatever this is. And some of you have a more progressed narrative, and that narrative will be checked in the link below in the extended. But let's have, I'm going to give you a message from the I Ching right now. But I want to have another card just to conclude August, because it's looking so interesting. And one more card for August, please, for Taurus. One more card. Is there anything else we can see from my Taurus seekers who are watching me right now for August? Two more cards, okay. The Emperor and the Seven of Pentacles. So there will be one specific person that you will be investing in that will also invest in you. You know, one that kind of surmounts all of that. Because, see, there's another possibility that's coming up right now as I'm speaking. Each of these kings have mastered their element, right? So this is the master of the element of fire, of the element of water, and of the element of swords. They're very powerful, impressive individuals, but they are muggles. You know, they're human. This guy here, this is Zeus. This is a god. Actually, the god of gods. This is the divine masculine. It's the masculine archetype. So this guy takes all of them. All of them. Now, so maybe 3 fighting and the 4th wins. Something like that. Or another interesting possibility. These all can be one person. Because in order to become an emperor, you need to master all 4 elements. So the element that is missing here is the King of Pentacles. So if this is one person, so the one thing that is missing for this person in order to become the emperor is mastering the earth element. Money, finances, practicality, survival, safety, reliability, all that earth fun stuff. So it's also something to consider. Okay, guys, I will continue this, but I want to ask for a message for you. You want to see this as I'm shuffling the I Ching? I'm sorry. Take this out. Message for my Taurus, please, from the I Ching for August. By the way, guys, in the information box, in the description box below where you'll find your extended, you'll also find a way to book a private reading with me. You'll find Tarot Masterclass, BUNKAI, if you want to learn how to do what I do, read tarot, become a Tarochi in the existential shift kind of way. But also the classic way. I give all the aspects of the tarot over there. And you'll have 2019 Ministers of Magic, which is the extended yearly for 2019, and it's now half price. Some of you are sick of hearing this, but I'm saying this for the sake of my new lovely subscribers that also deserve to know. Number 47. Okay. Want to see closer? Number 47 for Taurus. Exhaustion. Well, if you're this Queen of Swords having all these kings around her, I'm not surprised that you're exhausted. Okay. Above lake, below water. Water abandons the lake. Spiritual exhaustion. Interesting. Water has drained away from the lake, leaving it dry and barren. In human life, character is proven in times of adversity, when it seems like all joy has drained from life. Maintaining hope and good cheer under hard circumstances can bring exhaustion of spirit. When fate is unkind, care must be taken to replenish what has been used up. One must remain true to oneself. This is such an important message. Okay, and I have to talk about it for you guys, okay? So this is very much so this. Literally the first 3 cards that came out. This is a lot of spiritual work, clearing things out, bringing new things in, processing, making strong decisions, being the spiritual warrior, walking your true path of the heart, all that. This is all the psychological work, all the processing from childhood, from the subconscious, the fears coming up, being really overburdened by all of it, wanting to bring light into your life, into your environment, but it's just so much. There's so much you can do, there's so much you can be, there's so much you can give when you yourself are exhausted. And especially people who are spiritual, or or holding like inspiring positions, or some sort of leadership position. Even you have so many kings and queens on here. There are definitely several leaders type of characters, that master their elements and inspire other people, and remaining constantly on top and keeping a straight face and doing the right thing and remaining positive even when you're miserable. Sometimes it happens, is adding to the exhaustion. The message here is very wise, to not constantly try and be perfect, because A, it's impossible, and B, it will create the opposite. It will bring you to the verge of fatal exhaustion, where you'll be far away from your perception of perfect, right? You have to learn how to give yourself a break. You don't always have to be smiling. You don't always have to be inspiring. You don't always have to do the right thing for yourself and for everybody. You can F up. You can make a mistake. You can do something moody and then apologize for it. I'm not giving you excuse to indulge on spiritual laziness or on being asses. No, but if you hold yourself mostly as someone that is constantly accountable for yourself and for others, take a breather. Go to the beach, watch a movie, do something irresponsible. Say the thing that you're not sure what the consequences will be. Allow yourself to do something you might regret. It's the only thing that will allow you to learn the true experience of life, thus teaching the true experience of life. Because if you're constantly great, how can you help anyone? People are not constantly great. And if you really want to inspire and help people, then show them your weaknesses, right? I try to show my weaknesses and my moods and my stuff on this channel all the time. It's not always easy, but it's important for me that you guys know that I'm not perfect. A lot of you look up to me, which I'm so grateful for and honored by. But because of that, I feel like I have the responsibility to make it clear that this is not out of reach for you. You can do what I do. You can do what anybody that you look up to or that you are inspired by does, if you keep going at it. They've had rough patches. They still have rough patches. I have rough times. I've had rough times. And and yet here I am, and yet here you are. You don't have to be constantly on top and great and perfect all the time. Okay? And I want to show you that it's possible by showing you how much I'm not great all the time. And that will make it easier for you to believe that you can be that as well. You understand? Give it a rest, my little spiritual warrior. Take a seat. Take a breather. Okay. I'll see you in a second. And this was for me as well. I'll see you in a second in the extended. Have happy August. Thank you for all your beautiful support. No. Subscribe, because why not?